So in this lesson, we're going to take a look at the first and second positions of the minor pentatonic scale, and we're going to be using this in the key of A. So the root note for the first position pentatonic scale, which we probably all know, is on the 5th fret of the bottom E string. Okay, and what I'm going to be doing is talking through the position of the fingers that you're going to use to play the scale. So to reference that, I'm going to be using my first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. Okay, so thereby, if I'm calling out my first finger will play on the 5th fret. My fourth finger, the little finger, will play on the 8th fret. Okay, so it'll be first finger, fourth finger. Then we go to the 5th string, which is first finger, again, third finger on the 7th fret. Okay, so we have 1, 4, 1, 3. Okay, so we carry on up the scale using that naming convention of our fingers by numbers. We would have on each string 1, 4, next string, first finger, third finger, next string, first finger, third finger, next string, first finger, third finger, next string, first finger, fourth finger, next string, first finger, fourth finger, and back to the first finger to play back to A, which is our resolution note of the tonic. Okay, so the scale itself is 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. Okay. Now it's important that we use these fingers in that order so that we build the muscle memory up in the scales and also our fingers and our brain, so we can actually pull that scale out anywhere on the fretboard and use the same muscle memory, the same fingers that we're using to play that scale in any key. Okay, so that's the first one we want to look at, which is the A minor pentatonic scale. The notes we need to recognize inside that scale shape are the root notes, so we can work out where the note of A occurs in that scale. So we can then target that note, okay, and play to and from it using that for our solos and our licks. Okay, so let's look at it. So we have our first note of A on the 5th fret of the bottom E string. We also then have another note of A sitting on the 5th fret of the high E string. Okay, so because they mirrored, we have E here and E here, the E strings, and therefore our root note of A is there and there. We also have another A note which is found up here on the 7th fret of the 4th string. Okay, so we have a little octave shape here from the 5th fret on the 6th string to the 7th fret on the 4th string. Okay, that's our first octave shape we have there. The other octave shape we would then have would be from the 7th fret on the 4th string over to the 5th fret on the high E string. So there's an octave of A and the octave of A below it. So as you're playing through this scale shape, think about those notes, the A notes you're getting to as you play out. So you start from A. There's another A note. There's another A note. Back to A. So when you're soloing and building licks, the resolution note is the one that's really important to us. Every other note really can be classified more as a passing tone or on a note on the way to another note. But it's how we resolve the licks and we resolve our soloing that makes it important. If we resolve on a note that's a little bit funny to the ear, the audience is going to go a little bit, what was that? So we want to try and figure out those notes, and the way to start that is to target the root notes in the scale, at least be aware of where those root notes are. Okay. Now, the second scale we're going to look at is the pentatonic scale shape 2 for the minor pentatonic. And this scale shape, okay, we're going to start from the root note. So we're going to start now from the 7th fret on the 4th string, which is another A note, which we found from our octave shape. Okay, as our octave shape from the first pentatonic shape 1. Now we're going to take that 7th fret 4th string note, which is A, and we're going to play the scale. Now when we play this one, we're going to play from our first finger up to our fourth finger, which is the 10th fret. The next string we go is our first finger up to our third finger, okay, which is our 9th fret. We then go to the next string with our second finger, which is our 8th fret, and we play our fourth finger up to the 10th fret, okay? And then we go to the high E string where we play our second finger on the 8th fret and our little finger on the 10th fret, okay? That's where we start from. So we have, starting from here, 7th fret on the 4th string, our fingers would be 1, 4. We go to the next string where our fingers are 1, 3. We go to the next string where our fingers are 2, 4. And we go to the next string where our fingers are again 2, 4. Okay? Now, what we have to do is we have to come back to an A note to resolve this scale. So the other A note we have is going to be found here. It's going to be found here on the 10th fret of the second string, the B string. This is an A note. Okay? So if I played that scale, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, come backwards 2 notes, back to my second finger, go over to the 10th fret on the second string. There we have my root note. So you can hear, that's how I can resolve it. So we have there we have it. Okay? Now, the scale itself extends below this root note. Okay? It comes down further. Okay? So let's look at that. So starting from our 7th fret on the 4th string, okay, we play up 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4. Okay. When we come backwards, we start at this A note here. Okay, we're going to actually come backwards, coming down to the fifth string with the little finger on the 10th fret. Okay, down to our first finger on the 7th fret of the A string, the 5th string. We then come down to our 4th finger on the 10th fret of the bottom E string, and we end up down with our 2nd finger now on the 8th fret of the E string. Okay, there we have it. Okay, so the scale itself, it starts from this A note, and as we come down, be able to play to and from that A tonic, that A root note, okay? So again, what we've done here is we found another root note of A, which we had from our first scale, which is our 7th fret on the 4th string. We now have another root note of A up on the 10th fret of the B string. Okay, so that's another octave shape we can use. First finger here, 7th fret, 4th string, little finger on the 10th fret of the B string. So you can hear those 2 notes. That's an A octave. We add that octave shape to the octave shape we have in number 1, which is here. That 7th fret on the 4th string can connect up to this one. 10th fret on the B string. It can also connect over to the 5th fret on the top E string. Okay, so let's review that second scale shape again. Okay, and how we're going to do this is we're actually going to play it now, okay, from its starting note down on the low E string, which will be the 8th fret, okay, which is our note of C. Now this isn't the root note of the scale, but it's going to put all the notes in the order of the scale playing across all 6 strings. Okay, so from here, we're going to take our 2nd finger, and we're going to play our 2nd finger on the 8th fret, 4th finger, little finger on the 10th fret of the E string. We come over to the 5th string where we have our first finger on the 7th fret, 4th finger on the 10th fret. Next string is first finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string, little finger on the 10th fret of the 4th string. Next string on the 3rd string we have our first finger on the 7th fret. Now we have our 3rd finger coming over to the 9th fret on the 3rd string. We cross over now to the 2nd string, the B string, where we have our 2nd finger, followed by the little finger, fourth finger on the 10th fret of the B string, and we cross over to the next string where we have our second finger again on the 8th fret and our little finger on the 10th fret. Okay, and you can refer to diagrams of this as well. So that scale sounds like here, starting from the C note up with our fingers, which we're now using by numbers. We have second finger, fourth finger, first, fourth finger, first finger, fourth finger, first finger, third finger, second finger, fourth finger, second finger, fourth finger. Okay, so first of all, get familiar with those two shapes, okay? If you know the first one, work on the second one and work from it knowing that the A note, okay, where the A notes are found, okay? So the second shape, we really want to be able to play that scale from an A note So ideally, to start that scale, we'd start it from the 7th fret on the 4th string, that note there, but we'd also know these notes below it. Okay, so that's your first mission, is to get used to those two scale shapes, get the fingers used, and concentrate on using the correct fingers. Slow it down enough that you can listen to the notes and concentrate on using the right fingers. If you find yourself using a third finger where the fourth finger should be, stop, take a break, take a breath, and go back and try and get that first finger and get the right finger to be used. This is critically important because again, muscle memory when we're playing guitar, because when we're making a solo, the better our fingers and our muscles remember where the notes are, the easier we can connect the notes and the easier we can get around our scales. Okay? So keep going with that and we'll talk some more. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.